Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody. So nice to have you on here on this Health Angle podcast, second podcast of many, I'm sure. So, as you can read below, Warren Conley here, Paul Thirsty over there. Well, we continue now, Paul.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, you better tell them what happened. I was trying to change the background, and it just gave the background, didn't give me.
Yeah.
It's probably better actually. But,
all I could see was Paul's wannabe background. It was nice. But
yeah. Now Warren's having his lunch at the same time. I just thought I'd say that. So do you see him munching?
It's a snack.
Well, I didn't have any lunch, so you know. But in fact, I might walk off and go and get some lunch. You never know. So I don't think you're supposed to do that on a Facebook Live, are you?
But who cares? All right.
Right. Today's subject: mental health from a sports perspective. Now, very important. Now, I want to say a couple of things before we get going. We haven't spoken about this, so we have no idea what each of us are going to say. Okay, I'm sure it'll be exciting. The other thing is, look, mental health goes right across the board, and it goes right across the board to everybody. We just wanted to do it from a sports perspective, and there's two ways you can look at this. One is if you're a sports person being affected by mental health, or you're someone who's affected by mental health where sports can help. So, Warren, do you want to add anything before we really get going?
Not particularly. No, I think that was a good summary of where we're going to touch on today.
So
I have dealt with it quite not extensively, but I have dealt with it in the past with mental health and working with people and helping them to overcome it. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to just carry on. I'm just going to try and lower this line. I'll tell you what. No, I'll tell you why.
Well, for those watching,
that's better. Yeah. At least I've taken care of mine.
Mine is fine. I look like I'm partially angelic, so that's fine.
Yeah, I was just here. Yeah. It could become a religious show. You never know. It's not that we're not spiritual. It's just that
we are spiritual,
this is about something completely different. Okay, so there is more of an appetite these days to deal with mental health. Okay, but there are still stigmas attached to it. There are still problems. We're going to initially speak about sport in general and how that deals with it. So I think first of all, because you made a mention that you might have had challenges in the past to do with sport. Yeah. So do you want to take us away and talk about that first?
All right. So from my personal experience then, when I touched on last week that when I originally got into the industry of health and fitness was because I was continuously being injured. I was never able to get over niggles and so forth. And that mentally brought me down. Oh man, it had a massive impact on my performances and just me in general as well. Because I could just never get over that hurdle. I was never clean of injuries and niggles and so forth. And it just ties you down mentally. And then, prior to last year, June, July, August, September, when my hip condition started to heal, the same thing again, the mental strain on that pain, the anguish and everything that goes with it, it really brings you down a lot. And athletes deal with this all the time. I've dealt with paraplegic athletes. I've worked with paraplegics. And when you're a paraplegic and you're an athlete, man, they struggle so much more than the average person does. And for obvious reasons. So when you're dealing with that, you're not only dealing with the physical side, but you're dealing, it's 50-50, physical and then mental, because their capacity is taken away from them because of everything that is going on in their bodies, because of the massive shock that's happened to their system and everything like that. So mentally, for a paraplegic to be doing sports, it's a huge challenge. And I always tip my hat and raise my hands to them and say, look, kudos, because for a person that is disabled or has had a massive traumatic experience, physical experience, and then becomes an athlete, thereafter, they are constantly pushing through pain all the time. Even though they may be paralyzed, there's still a lot of pain going on in their bodies. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey for me, working with pain and mental, the connection between the mental disorders and pain in the body and sports.
Yeah. I mean, well, generally they say that there's 25% of the public. We think it must probably goes right across the board, but 25% of the public are affected at some stage in their life with mental illness.
Yeah.
I can only speak for myself here because, and that's all you could ever do. The only time that I would consider myself to have had some kind of mental problem, is when I was got divorced. And that was the most traumatic. And I know there's hundreds of things that are more traumatic, like losing a child, God forbid, and things like that. But that was for me, that was the most traumatic thing. And I ended up.
You cannot undermine that.
No. I know. It's tremendous to lose a partner, whether they pass on or it's divorced. I would imagine it's fairly similar. However, what happened was I actually went. I was in the police, and I went to, and I knew how bad I was feeling. So I went to speak to some kind of person, advisor or something. I don't really remember now. And then they started questioning me about. They said, well, they asked me about my family and my dad dying in 1991, and they tried to tell me I hadn't grieved for my father and all this. And I'm going, I mean, what? I mean, trust me, I've grieved for my father, all right? I got over that a very, very long time ago. This was like 10 years difference. Okay, it was 10 years before.
Okay.
And, I didn't have a problem with it. I really didn't have a problem with it. But that was one thing. And the other thing is I got given a prescription for some kind of drug. Okay. And I came home and I took this drug and it was like I was spaced out.
Yeah.
I mean, to look at. Because my daughter said to me, the first thing she said, "What are you on?" and I went, and you know what? It did the world of good because I was on these for about 3 or 4 days. And these are not supposed to kick in for 36 hours.
Oh, wow.
And because I rarely take a paracetamol tablet for a headache. So it worked in about 30 minutes, and that's how quickly they worked. And
that sounds very similar to another tablet that I know, which actually does this.
30 minutes. Oh yeah, okay. Right. You can talk to me in private about that if you want. I mean, I'm saying nothing. I've never felt blue. No, I'm joking. Right. Okay. I'm taking. Why is it I always come on a podcast and take my shoes off? I've worked this one out.
You want to be relaxed. That's why.
Yeah,
I've kicked my feet up.
I've been out walking and running. So yeah, sorry. Okay, back to it. So just very quickly, I decided after 3 or 4 days to take these tablets that I wasn't going to take any more, and I made a decision that day that I'm not going to feel bad anymore. Now, I know you can't do that with mental illness. So I think I proved to myself that I was just down. Okay. I wasn't suffering from mental illness. It was a temporary situation that I needed to deal with. So the way I dealt with it was when I got divorce papers. and then took them round to my wife, who was with her new boyfriend, and sat there and had a cup of tea with them. I just got to sign the papers. That was it. Best thing I ever did.
It still
took me 2 years to get over it, but but it
Okay.
was. But let's get back to the thing in hand. I mean, obviously, depression and anxiety are rife, I would think, in professional sports.
Oh,
And one of the biggest things is what you mentioned about the injuries.
yes.
Okay, but the thing is that most people suffer in silence. Now, if you think of the general public, okay, 1 in 4, there's I think 70 million people in the UK. 1 in 4. So sometime during their life, it's going to be 17.5 million people suffer from mental illness.
You definitely know somebody.
Yeah.
Without
Oh
a-
no,
without a
you
shadow of a
probably
doubt.
know. You probably know quite a lot. Now,
Yeah.
people do talk about it. It does. They do give the impression that nobody talks about it, but people do talk about it because I've actually spoken to people that have said I had a problem.
But in general, how do people really talk about it? It's because I find, okay, especially the culture that I come from in South Africa, where cowboys don't cry, that kind of stuff. You hurt yourself,
Yeah, that's right.
you just don't show the pain,
Yeah.
And men do talk about it, even in South Africa, but it's very superficial. It's very shallow level of communication around mental illness, and it's typically in banter or some kind of joke is made about it in jest. There's never really anything serious that goes on.
But you know why, don't you? Because especially if you're positive, you don't want to be around someone. Let's be honest now. You don't want to be around someone who you think may bring you down.
Unless you know how to handle it.
Unless you know how to handle it.
And most people don't. But
No,
they don't know how to handle it because it's not something that is discussed. So it's
That's right.
kind of loop.
That's
It's
right.
a loop, right?
Yeah. And I mean, going away from the sports thing for a minute. I mean, I know there's lots of young girls have problems because of internet, because of we used to be magazines and things like that used to say you've got to be this thin and all this, and I know that some of the, I mean, everyone's beautiful in their own right, okay, but it's especially, I know it's terrible to say, but when someone is glamorous and does it, it hits you even harder. But I know that's not fair, and life isn't fair, and I do apologise. But it does. But if you think there's loads of people that have suffered from it, really well-known people. There's a footballer in this country called I've wrote it down his name somewhere. Can't remember what it is.
The young guy.
Carlisle. His name was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think. I wrote it down, but I can't find it. Clark Carlisle. I can't remember what he did, but he was so down, and this is what brought it to light. First one that brought it to light, as far as I remember. And he tried to commit suicide and failed. Thank God, And now he obviously spends his time with Mind, which is the UK charity that deal with it, and he's obviously an ambassador for them, and he's doing a great job. And
Good for him.
And we lost another footballer called Gary Speed, who was a Welsh international, very, very good player. Committed suicide.
I remember Gary
Nobody
Speed.
knew. As far as I remember, nobody knew that he was suffering from problems.
No, nobody knew. I think after he did commit suicide, there were some reports came out, if I remember correctly, that some people kind of suspected, they noticed that he had changed, but nobody knew and addressed the issue with him. I mean, and look, you touched on kids. You touched on kids just now, and with kids, they have so much pressure. There's so much pressure that's put on their young shoulders, especially when they are good athletes.
Academies and things like that.
I coached two young tennis prodigies from Russia at one stage when I was living in Dubai. The pressure on these kids was so immense that the girl, she has a tennis academy in her home in the Ural Mountains. And then when the season is right in Dubai, they're living in Dubai and they're training every day.
Yeah.
This was an 11-year-old girl that was playing tennis against 14-year-old boys and kicking their butts. Now, then the other thing was that there was a boy who was a friend of hers, and her father wanted me to help him to grow, to get taller. to increase his growth spurts. And that's the amount of pressure that this poor kid has been put under at the age of 11 to be bigger and taller. So that's just two examples that I've dealt with personally. And then you see, like, you go to the schools and you go watch. You're a referee. I'm sure when you first started refereeing, you refereed some sports game, school games and things like that from time to time, or you've been in that circle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You would have seen the pressure coming from the parents on the side of the field, I'm sure.
Actually, the coaches generally are very good.
Yeah.
You do get the odd one that goes over the top, and really over the top. I mean, it's disgusting sometimes. But I mean, the thing with kids, and especially football, because I only deal with football really. So the academies, the academy. I used to referee at West Ham Academy. Excellent. They knew how to look after people there. They were, they had rules. If any parent caused a problem, the kid was kicked out of the academy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but they all knew that when they first arrived. They explained it all and everything. But they really, I mean, West Ham really looked after their their kids and that. But I mean, what we talk about is pressures, pressures and expectations. Okay, some are put on the kid by themselves.
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't matter how much talking you do to them, they're going to do that. But a lot of it's put on by parents because they want to see their son or daughter do extremely well. And I understand that up to a point. But
they want to live their dreams through their children.
But first of all, they're a son and a daughter, and you've got to look after. You've got to manage their expectations. Okay, you've got to tell them right from the start. You might make it, you might not. You've got to be ready for both.
Yeah,
and I bet they don't because they've got stars in their eyes.
I'm actually coaching a young kid right now, and he's a teenage boy here from Hungary, and he's an aspiring professional football player. Mm-hmm. But I've also brought up the question with him: what is Plan B, just in case? You never know, just in case anything could happen. Yeah. So what is Plan B? And he has a Plan B. Yeah, he has a Plan B, and that is commendable because. There are so many kids that come from especially countries like Hungary where they want to do well. They want to get out of the country and go play somewhere else, do sports somewhere else and make millions. And they don't think about anything else other than doing that sport. But at least he has a Plan B. He's bright enough. He's astute enough for that. And then on the other side, I was coaching another kid here. Just puts so much pressure on his own shoulders. The boy is talented as well. Yeah, he just puts so much pressure on his shoulders, on himself, and it's just so unnecessary. And you can see the depression in his eyes, and it's just. Yeah. So this is a big thing, and it's. Then you got the athletes that are depressed because they have secrets to hide. If example like popular gay athletes that don't want to come out into the public about the fact that they are gay, and that creates depression in their mindset. Then you've got the other athletes who get depressed because as you say, put pressure on themselves, the pressure of the public and the media and everything else, and they become depressed as a result of being a superstar. The young kid will look at that and think, how can you tell me you're depressed? But it is a reality.
Yeah, I mean, they had the problem in the army as well, didn't they? Big time. In fact, it was for many years, it was illegal. So, that would be pressures on its own. Yes. I'll tell you the incident. What happened to talk about that? I did a course in the police. We were in Soho, lovely place, but and we went for a drink at the end of the course. And this detective sergeant went for the drink, and I phoned my girlfriend up, and he phoned his partner up to come down to the pub. And he said, I've got to tell you something. I went, yeah, go on then. So he went, my partner's a man. I'm gay. And I went, get the drinks in. I went, it ain't a problem. Everyone to their own. It's. So I wanted to take the pressure straight off, and we had a great evening. Great. Just got
But
drunk.
that's a sign that's a sign of who you are, though, Paul. The fact that he
Yeah.
trusted you enough to disclose that to you,
Yeah.
because you know what the prejudices are like, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So respect to you for that. The fact that he trusted you.
Yeah. And of course, because the other thing is that linked to this as well, not only linked to this, but is bullying.
Oh yeah.
Because bullying is, I hated bullying. I got bullied twice at school, and ended up having 2 fights. Now the good thing that came out of it was at least one of the people who's now dead, but one of the people I had a fight with became a best mate.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, but
cool.
and it was really important why we had a fight, because he was flicking ink at me. But there are some really nasty things that go on with bullying. It's not just at school; it goes on right the way everywhere. It could be right the way through life.
Yeah, I used to get bullied a lot at school. I used to get bullied by one of my brothers. I used to get bullied at school, and I ended up teaching a program in Dubai as well, out of the UK, based around helping kids with bullies and leadership and strangers and all these kind of things. So teaching them life skills, and one of the primary aspects of that was bullying. And I used to teach that because I was a bullied kid. I was like shoved in the washing machine, and they put the washing machine on and things like that. You go to school and you don't know when you're going to be attacked, that kind of stuff. But you get through that. But not every kid can, unfortunately. Not every kid manages to get through.
Well, we're all unique. We've all got weaknesses. We've all got things we do wrong. And I think that's what you've got to get over to people, that it's like doing these Facebook Lives. I mean, look, it's all new to us. I can make 100 mistakes, but I don't care. I really don't care, because
when you're like this is when you're most natural, and this is the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the dog you got there? What dog you got there?
What dog?
I thought I could hear a dog panting in the background or something like that.
It's probably me. No, I don't know. No, I know. Seriously, I can hear a lawnmower outside.
Maybe it's
cutting the lawn, but
dog
in
the background there.
But let's finish off with the athlete bit and just say that look, there are high expectations from athletes. They're put under, scrutiny by media. Their lives are same as everyone who is well known. They're just ripped apart, and I'm surprised half of them have got a life. It's a unique set of pressures, and we have to take that into account. It's just the fact that you're earning £300,000 a week means absolutely nothing when it comes to mental health. You've got people that they're all on the dole, getting assistance, and you get people that are millionaires. It goes right across the spectrum of people. It doesn't respect any status in life or anything.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
So have a little bit have a lot of sympathy for people in that position.
Of course, and also be brave enough to bring it up with somebody if you think that they have mental, if they're suffering with mental conditions, if you think that they're suffering with depression or anxiety, low confidence, these kind of things, be brave enough to bring it up with them, especially if it's somebody you care about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they will respect you till the ends of the earth for doing that, and helping them to realize that it's okay to talk about it. And on the flip side as well, I'd like to end on something a little bit more positive. Is that the reason why we're here is to help and educate and encourage other people to become more active in sports and look after their health, and from different perspectives and different angles. And for the average person, even though they may be the 3 out of 4 that never suffers with mental disorders and depression, but those people that do, it's a great way, sports and activities of fitness and just running, cycling, swimming, it's a fantastic way for you to cope, to help you to cope, to start off with, with things like depression, anxiety, and so forth, and then thereafter get over it, because you've changed your focus. Very often when people are suffering with depression, they're so involved in their own world that they forget about the opportunities that are out there.
Yeah.
They forget that they can make a change for themselves. Now, they may need to go to medication, and that's fine. If as long as the medication is helping them and serving them and not making them a zombie. But if they start to partake in any kind of activity that is physical in nature, gets you outdoors preferably, allows you to be by yourself from time to time, perhaps, so you can just focus on what you're doing, or even in a team environment where you're just distracted, because some people just need constant distraction. So if you can get out and play football with people, basketball, badminton, whatever it is, cricket, get out there and do it, and find somewhere where you can go and actually distract yourself, and then just allow that mind of yours, that chatter, that monkey brain, to keep quiet, just shut up.
Well, we've all got that.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Oh yeah.
But this is when you're enabling yourself to raise your vibration. And the moment you start to raise your vibration, you get beyond that pattern that you've created for yourself. And this is all it is. It's a pattern. Mental depression is another form. It's another way of patterning. So when you're able to distract yourself in whichever shape, form, or way, as long as it's healthy, then you can eventually get over that, and you can eventually overcome that, and you can therefore become a much better, healthier person, a better member of society, and not become dependable as you get older. Because otherwise, when you get older, you may become dependable on other people.
Yeah.
And that becomes an even bigger issue altogether. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that we should, as I say, we should end up on some positive notes. Bear in mind that I think 75% of people don't suffer from mental problems, which I think is fantastic. I think 25% is too big. And I think that everyone should. One of the biggest words that I think about is awareness. Be aware of the people around you, and just be careful. Really, just spend a bit of time not directly looking at them, because they'll notice, but notice how they are. And I think you should be able to pick up on certain things. However, sport.
Just talk to people. Talk.
Yeah, absolutely. We've spoken about injuries. We know that. We also talk about welfare, because the problem is that not enough people care. Okay, because there's serious challenges out there in the work world and homes and things like that. And I just think that people should be more, cognizant. Is that the right word? Of things. And the other thing is, not one size fits all when we're talking about dealing with mental health. Each person is unique. Okay, there will be similar things, but everyone will have different, and
different.
Okay,
needs.
so let's. The other thing is experiencing discrimination. That's the other thing. That's another reason why people don't say anything. They suffer in silence. But the genie is out the bottle now. Right? It is out the bottle. So, for anyone listening, if you need someone to talk to, give me a call.
Yep.
Send me a message on healthierlife.tv, and we can chat, try and get to speak to the right person. And it's the same. I'm sure it's the same for Warren as well. But 1 minute you could be a superhero. The next minute you can be down badly.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so it can happen to anybody.
I'm not touting my services, but as a coach, I understand that asking for help is one of the hardest things for people to do.
Yeah.
Because they think that people don't care. And look, people do care, but there's a limit to what people will care about.
Yeah.
And if all you're doing is you're just crying on someone's shoulder, there's an end game there. But if you do go and seek help from a professional, or you want to, then actually take that step. Be brave enough to take that step and admit to the fact that you need help. And be brave to ask for that help. Because the moment you do ask for help, the big wide universe around us will just give. It will say, you want help, here's help. Yeah, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I dealt with domestic violence in the police for 3.5 years. And I can tell it that would be another angle we go down, but it's a similar problem. The only problem is that they're quietly having problems, whereas the footballer or the sports person is in the glare of the headlights, of the cameras and whatever, and it's just as bad. Whether you're stuck in a dark corner or in the front of the cameras, it's still the same problem.
It is, yeah.
You know?
Actually, and neither one of them is less important than the other, because in any shape, form, or size, because one is in the limelight and they're having to deal with that and look happy and look everything else that the public wants. They think the public wants them to be, whereas the one that's suffering in silence in the dark corner, in an abusive relationship, or a young kid that is just putting pressure on themselves as a result of whatever, for them, there's just no light at the end of the tunnel. So the one has too much light, and the other one doesn't have enough light.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's you can't. Yeah.
It's just another way of looking at it. So there are some positive benefits from doing sport. Okay, that's what we're going to finish up on.
Many
over time here, and that's you get improved relationships, better sleep. You're more fun to be around. It goes on. I made a long list of them here. It reduces stress, increased confidence. There's lots of things that sport will do for you. Okay, and
sport increased my confidence exponentially.
Absolutely, yeah, and I mean, I'm glad I did. I mean, I played football for 44 years. Now referee in my 8th year refereeing.
So, and look how young you look.
I know, 65. 65, and I can still run 18-year-olds into the ground. So, anyway, that's. Anyway, anyone got any questions? Please, there's a mechanism on here where you can send us a message. We're quite happy to answer it if we can. If we can't, then we will seek professional help.
Yes.
Okay.
And I always want to add to that: if there's somebody that that should be listening to this conversation that hasn't or isn't, then please do not feel shy to share this message with them. Just send it, if you need to send it to a group of people so that they don't think it's just them, but let them at least hear this message so that it might spark some kind of action from them. All right.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Listen and look, and I always remember Police Academy many years ago, where Lieutenant Harris, do you remember? Have you seen it? Police Academy?
Yeah.
Lieutenant Harris is talking to both Mahoney and Tackleberry. Said, we really need to talk. And I know it's a light-sided way of looking at it, but, sometimes you need to talk.
You just need to talk. That's all.
That's a starting point. So,
yeah.
Anyway, it's been great being on. Warren, you got anything else you want to say before we go?
Just that, look, it is what it is. If it's happening to you, it is what it is. You can do something about it. There are many ways you can tackle this. Don't fight it. Don't look at it as fighting it, because if you look at it as fighting the depression or the anxiety or whatever mental disability or disorders you're going through or challenges you're experiencing, if you look at fighting it, it's just going to be a struggle. But look at it as something that you can overcome, and you can get better through learning what the tools are for you to understand going through this experience right now, because this is a tool for you to grow and learn whatever you're experiencing, and if you are, and anything in life for that matter. So if you can find the best, most accessible way for you to get through that and overcome that without fighting it, the better for you at the end of the day.
Yeah. For me, sport has been it's a great leveler.
Yes,
it's helped me all through. And the other thing is, because we're both entrepreneurs as well, because we don't talk about that because we're doing a health show. But I mean, it's that also has helped me tremendously, because the thing that helped me was being introduced to personal development in 1979. And using that all the way through. I don't think I would have survived 33 years in the police if I hadn't done personal development regularly.
Personal development in 1979 is like quantum mechanics is today. It's like, what? But same with me, from being an entrepreneur, the personal development that I've learned as a result of being an entrepreneur since the early 2000s is the same for me. It's the value I've gained from that, and that's just from being an entrepreneur. So if you're not an entrepreneur, just also find some way to develop your personal abilities. Your knowledge, just your growth in some shape, form, or way. And there's so many professionals out there that can provide the tools for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we better get going. So we're over 35 minutes. So
I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy as well. And I know we can't cover everything. As I say, that's why I said about the questions. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Well, I will see you. Hopefully, I'll see you on Friday with Leanne. But I can't. Shall I? 2 days? Yeah, I can tell you. We're talking about belly fat.
Oh, nice.
Really exciting stuff. I don't have that problem anymore now.
No, but belly fat is a very important health issue.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So
okay. Fantastic,
great.
Man. Enjoy.
Cheers, Warren. And goodbye to everyone. Wish you all the success that you're willing to work towards, and let's go for it. See you later.
Bye now. Take care, everyone. Love you all.